All right, hey, so welcome to Loudmouth Sports Talk. We got the round table. We got Rob, who covers our hockey. We got Sean Evans, who he's wrestling, but he gonna be a part of us today. We got Dane Dollar holding it down with basketball today, and then we got our guest tonight. So we got Lamont Wade, Clareton Rays, currently serving, at that good old blue and white team, Penn State. Dude's a stud. Jim Thorpe, finalist prediction. I mean, all of them. You could just go ahead. So, hey, go ahead and tell us about yourself, man. Give us a little background.
Um, yeah, for those who don't know me, Lamont Wade, Clarendon, PA, 13 miles south of Pittsburgh. Went to Clarendon High School. Same high school as Tyler Boyd, current Cincinnati Bengal. Their number one receiver right now. Currently at Penn State right now, majoring in commercial and community recreation management. I graduate in December, so yeah, everything's moving for me right now.
Yeah, congratulations on the nomination for the Thorpe Award, man. That's pretty high accolades, man. That's nice. That's nice.
Yeah, appreciate that. That's huge.
I have one question because it's kind of near to me. Why Penn State? I know my daughter goes Penn State Beaver right now. She'll be transferring to Maine after this year, but why Penn State?
Shoot, man, it was a long process. It started whenever I was in ninth grade. Because I actually, how Courtney was talking about before we started, me tearing my meniscus. I actually had tore my meniscus my freshman year too as well. I only played 6 games my freshman year, tore my meniscus. And I didn't really expect nothing to come from that. But I guess I did what I had to do in those first 6 games. And then that spring is when Pitt first offered, West Virginia offered, and Temple, the home state schools. And that's where it all started. Then it ended up coming down to, O State, Tennessee, Pitt, UCLA, and essentially it kind of was like Penn State was the school who did everything right in the recruiting process. They handled everything right. They covered every alley, any concern or whatever. And the recruiting game is so funny because you got so many moving parts that you don't even know exist for real. So being in that, it's kind of like it was always like I guess you could say a technical difficulty in the recruiting for like different schools, like with Ohio State. I actually wanted to commit there. I wanted to commit there, like I think my junior year or something. And they told me like I was trying to early enroll, and they were basically like saying like I had to early enroll. I had to commit on the spot to early enroll, and I just wasn't ready yet. So that kind of ended everything with them, and then everything, things just started getting washed out. And then when it came down to, that end, it was kind of between, realistically, it was between Penn State and West Virginia, where UCLA is a close third, because all in all, I loved Pitt, but I couldn't. I had to get out of my environment because clearing is not really a lot. So I had all my aspirations set on being anywhere but outside of the area that I grew up in. So then it was like a Penn State, West Virginia type thing, and like I said, Penn State, they did everything they had to do, and in the end, that's how they got it.
It was definitely a good decision, being up for the Thorpe Award. I mean, that's that, man. That's awesome, dude. Congratulations on that.
Yes,
It's like stay healthy, and hopefully you guys will be able to get a season in this year.
Yeah, hope so, man. Praying for it.
Definitely hope so, man.
So my question is, when you got to Penn State, how big of the transition did you have to change in yourself with between working out in a high school setting compared to now you're at a Division I college elite level, coming on with that type of coach, that type of program. Like how hard was it to transition in that way?
Man, that transition was ridiculous for real, for real. It's like it was first of all it was a complete culture shock for me from Clarendon, PA. It was like a culture shock, and then on top of that culture shock, it was like a whole mindset rejuvenation that you got to do. You know what I'm saying? So, and I was talking about this earlier with some of my guys. That first year you're in college, you don't learn anything. You might know some things, but you don't really learn them. So it's the same thing as like with the playbook and everything, trying to run around. Like, you know it, you definitely know it. So if you know it, you might be able to do it here and there. You might not be able to do, but what I realize, whenever you really learn something, that's when, it's all capabilities. Anything's open for you. You do whatever you want whenever you actually learn something.
So is it easy now for you to help with like the newer guys coming in? Are you kind of being seen as that mentor type now? As
Yeah, most definitely, because everybody, the things that I went through going there, and with my position change, everything, just adversity that I faced, that I've overcame, and how I handled it positively, and didn't back out of it, because there's a lot of guys that did back out of it. There's a lot of guys that didn't get their way, maybe started a year, didn't get their way the next year, and then after that left because of, what I'm saying? So just sticking through all that, I that's why they, try to look at me as, one of those guys that's in the leadership role.
Yeah, great program, man.
Yeah, so I got a couple. I'm gonna give you a couple. So when talking about, so one of the biggest things, we talk on Twitter a lot, man, and you're so vocal about, and a couple of it is, I feel like you're protecting your brothers, obviously, with the dreadlock situation, where they said it didn't look Penn State like, and not only you, but it seems like your coach, man, your head coach, it starts with him, and how he let you guys have a platform and let you guys use your voice to be that change at Penn State. So can you talk to me about, is there pressure for you to feel like you have to say something because of where you come from? Or is it just a natural feeling, like, that I can't let something go away without me saying it? Like, that's just who I am.
Yeah, so my first few years of college, that was something that I really battled with, my freshman and sophomore year, because I've always been outspoken. But, getting onto these new levels, having to shake hands with these, different faces or different people that you might not agree with holistically on. But when essentially what I did was kind of realize whatever I tried to realize what I wanted out of life, realize how bad I wanted change, and then on top of that, it's just like things just kept happening and it made everything worse. And it's like, if I'm sitting back and not saying nothing, then I'm complacent with it, and I'm low key to a point, okay with it if I'm not making a stand on it. And then I think I dropped a video in, like, I don't know if it was 2018 or 2017. It was titled, I think it was titled "Who Really Represents the Flag," and it was basically a video. This is around whenever Kaepernick and everything was going on with him, and I'll probably say this is probably my turning point, because when all that Cap stuff was going on, and I did some digging, digging into the true meaning of the flag, the colors, the symbolism, and everything, and literally everything the flag stood for is everything that Kaepernick was doing. That freedom of expression, that
Right.
having the right to take that knee if you want. That's
Right.
literally what America is about, and it's what Americans were getting mad at. And whenever I put that on like a large scale, like, this is what America is about, and Americans are getting infuriated about it. It didn't make sense to me. So ever since then, I was kind of like 10 toes onto it, for real. And just figured I'd do it. Gotta, if my heart desired it, I gotta speak out.
Right. And that's one thing, man, where I sit there and I talk to those guys, and Dame is a huge advocate for it, and just understanding, man, because me being in the Marine Corps, people feel like, oh, the flag, like, obviously the flag means so much to me, but it means so much to me because of all the Black Marines who weren't there, like, who were fighting in a war, and then when they came home, they got spit on, they got treated like a second-class citizen, and these guys just fought and helped win these wars. And so when people talk about the flag and they're like, oh, that's wrong, but at the same time, you're like, technically, like, everything he's talking about, we need to listen. We need to sit down and listen, because if we sat down and listened in 2016, America would be 4 years forward compared to 30 years backward because of situations and stuff like that. And then talking about, like, knowing you in 2016, man, I got to bring it up. So, playoff game, you go Northgate versus Clearton. Northgate had just won our first playoff game. We go to Brent, we play Bishop Canavan, win 35-0. We knew we had you guys. Talk about your injury. Talk about how it got to that game, and talk about how you feel about my Auburn Monarchs, Northgate.
Man, it's crazy. It's crazy because I didn't even know. I had forgot that I had got injured until you literally just said something. Like I had forgot. But like I was saying earlier, I tore my meniscus last game of the season, last regular season game against Jeanette. So in that game, I tore my meniscus, and then I sat out. I think I tore it in the first half. I sat out. I came back the fourth quarter. I think it was one of the last touchdowns. I ran a touchdown after everybody thought I tore my meniscus. And then after that game, I had surgery, and I like you said, 2 weeks. I was out for 2 weeks, and I just it was the game. That was the game. Was that the semifinal game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I couldn't miss it. I couldn't miss it. It was my senior year, and I'm like, dog, this is my last year. I gotta get the Hershey. I gotta try to get that. But no, and then going into it, them guys fought for real. Like how you said, them boys was really fighting. That was definitely a tough game, surely.
Because I told these guys, and we were talking about it before, but so, and then we got a question from Jonna, so we're going to get to that. But so we're running a play. We decide that this is our last chance. It's the fourth quarter. We got a couple minutes left. So we decide we're going to go with something. And I mentioned you had just had surgery on your meniscus. We decide to go with a double pass, right? So the call gets there. We're like, oh, we got it. If Mark goes and he's in the middle of the field, he's going to go to the far hash, and we're going to throw that double pass. So perfectly executed to start. The ball's in the air, and I'm like, oh, my God, he's on the left hash. We got him. You're able to recover from the left hash to the right hash and pick the ball off and take it for a touchdown. What was your mindset? Did you know the double pass was coming? Because I think we've been asking our question for a little bit.
What gave it away was I was on the other hash, and then when I seen that he wasn't urgent enough in getting out to the edge, and when I kind of seen how slow he hit the edge, because if you got the edge like that, you trying to hit it and get yards, you trying to go. He wasn't trying to go nowhere. So I'm like, hold up, something ain't right about this. Then I looked at the number 2 receiver, and he did the little whenever they fake block, and it's always the fake hands, little stop block, and I seen it, and it was right there.
Damn. All right, so I got to take that note. And then Jonah wants to know, what was your favorite memory playing at Clearton?
My favorite memory, honestly, man, I love playing at Clearton, but some of my best memories come from when I was a manager at Clearton before I even played. Like I was a water boy from I think 4 years before I even got to high school. So it's like I've been around that coaching staff. I've been around them. I've been around that stadium for 8 years. Ever since like Desmond Green, he was supposed to go to Texas Tech, one of them type guys. But everything about that Clearton football experience, I miss it now. Just going in that stadium every single Friday is literally I felt amazing every single week. I missed that. I definitely missed that.
Dan, you got anything for him?
I was just looking through. Because I'm originally from Pittsburgh, but I haven't lived there in 20 years, so I'm not too familiar with all the athletes that are going on. So obviously learning now that you're from Clairton, you go to Penn State, and I'm reading through some of the stuff on your NFL like breakdown. And last year they had you on a likelihood to declare on 3 out of 5. Is there a specific reason that you decided to stay for your senior year, or?
Yeah. So that hype, it started building up, kind of on the back end of everything, because coming down the stretch, as the games went on, my play started increasing. When the games mattered more, that's when I played the best. So me not being like completely sure during the season and everything happening at the end, and me knowing that I I felt like I had a good year, you know, but I felt like I could play literally 10 times better than what I did. I could do so much more than what I did. Me being how I feel and me knowing, you know, how I feel like my talent is and my talent level, I feel like I could just that 3 to 5. I feel like I could improve
Right.
that.
Improve on it
87.
and make your stock higher.
Yes, sir.
So,
Man, this is I.
Lamont, so Lamont,
Oh, we got another question
we have
from
another
somebody.
question. So when I talked to you about the transition from the athletics from high school to college now, give us a little take on this comes from Len Williams, a little bit on the academic standpoint, from Clareton academics to now you're in college, and what kind of advice would you give high school seniors that are aspiring to be student athletes, in that Division I field?
Man, coming like just seeing, you know, how our curriculum and how the lack of resources we had, not like our learning wasn't really sufficient there. You know what I'm saying? I didn't really get that much out of it. And I always had good grades in high school. It's not because I wasn't into it. It's just because it wasn't beneficial that much. So what I would say to, you know, young athletes coming up is being on top of that from the gate. You know, what I've seen a lot of dudes fail at is not being on top of it from the gate and thinking they could get onto it on the long run just because of their talent, and it ain't work out like that. What I did as soon as I went to high school, I knew it was gonna be hell for me. I said, forget it. Give me the algebra 2 class, give me the trigonometry class. I got those out of the way, and that led me to me early enrolling, which led to me getting on the field my freshman year. Like it's a long process that you have to be attentive to from the very first step, whether you feel like it or not, you know, because that's a side of it. It's not just the sports side of it. The sports side is 50% of it, but the other 50%, you know what I'm saying? You gotta focus on your books. You gotta focus on your academics. You gotta actually educate yourself on, you know, these real topics or these real trades or whatever you want to do, because it's more to it than just a sport, you know.
Is there a GPA that you have to be required to carry to play?
No,
To
not
be eligible to play?
Oh yeah, I think honestly the baseline is baseline. I think it's like a 2. You got to maintain a 2.0 GPA or something like that, 2.5 or something like that. I think, and you can't, like, it goes to cum because, like, okay, say you have 2 3.0 semesters and then you have like a 1.5 semester, you're not going to be ineligible because you had those 3.0.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Hey Rob, you got any questions? Because I got a couple. You got something for him?
No, go ahead.
All right. So for me, man, right, being a Michigan fan, always looking out, watching you guys at watching you specifically at Penn State, and don't hate me, it's cool. But I thought your Michigan game last year was like I felt like you took it personal. Was it
Yeah.
because you were going against Khalid and knowing the history of him? Is that why you took it so personal? Because I feel like you had, I want to say 11 tackles, like you were just everywhere that game. And I felt like it was like, oh, this is my brother from Pittsburgh, you know, McKeesport. I'm going to show him what's up. Was that how it was?
Nah, it always been like that ever since I got to college and knew I was facing Lee, just from freshman year, facing them on punt return and going out of in battles like that. So for surely, but
Right.
it was that, and it was that whiteout. That whiteout, I'm trying to tell you, that whiteout take a hold of you and turn you to a different beat.
Yeah. Can you talk about what is it like playing at Beaver Stadium? Because we had Curtis Terry, who played at Ohio State from 04 to 06 on the show Sunday, and he was talking about the best place to play that he's ever played at was Beaver Stadium to get that experience. So what is it like on campus that week or any week? What is it like dealing with everything to go on at Penn State?
No, see, that was another part of it that I didn't say earlier. When you get here, it's like college. It's college. It's literally college. Like, it's when you think of college, when you see college on TV, you get here and it's like college. And I got a real college vibe from Penn State. You know what I'm saying? And that's, you know, from them tailgating the night before, you know, seeing all those RVs and just the incredible amount of fan love and support from the student base, from people who live here, just being a recruit and going around campus. It's like, dang, I'm not even on the team yet, you know? So that it's amazing just going in that tunnel. Even if you walk in the tunnel when nobody's playing it, it still look amazing. And whenever it's 110,000, you can just imagine it's that much more better.
Man, there's so much stuff that I feel like there's just so much to talk about, like playing in the Big Ten. I want to talk about so you started playing freshman year, you played, but not as much. Sophomore year was when you really became a starter, if I'm not mistaken, right?
No, freshman year, I played a little bit. Sophomore year is when I switched positions, and I didn't really play at all for real.
Talk about how that was, because you went from corner to safety, right?
Mm-hmm.
How was the mindset of being on that level, knowing you have to fight for your spot and to make a change your sophomore year to a position where you played it in high school, but it was never your position? You know what I mean?
Yeah, literally the only time I played in high school was those 3 games in the playoffs.
Yeah, go figure. Because you need.
Only time I played it. But
bullshit.
like how I told you that first year you don't really learn anything, you just know everything. So
Right.
I went from okay, I know this stuff, let me learn it now, to I don't even know this stuff. I gotta know it first before I learn it. And it was like a whole nother learning cycle. That's why like it was a lot for real. And it kind of, especially me being how eager I am, playing the way I play, not being on that field, like it was killing me. It was eating me up. And that's why I went into the portal and everything, sank into whatever I sank into, and thinking that it wasn't going to shake out. But, at the end of the day, it played itself out.
And then the biggest thing, obviously, with COVID-19, man, you guys was one of the first programs to really send your test results out, and all of your guys came back clean. Because I remember I texted you, I was like, hey, man, like, what's the protocol you guys did that made it so, like, it was good, and how often do you get tested? So what is it like being on campus, having practice, dealing with COVID-19? Can you go through a little bit of what it's like, how often you get tested and stuff like that?
Yeah, I can't say too much, but it's like it's real weird for real. You know what I'm saying? Because it's of course it's a bad situation we're in. And having to go about it in these different type of ways, working out with masks on and getting tested multiple times a week, et cetera, different stuff like that may not be pleasing to whatever it is. But at the end of the day, we know, even whenever boo stuff come in your way, you gotta find ways to get it done. So that's what we're doing right now. We find ways to get it done in the midst of everything that's going on, in the midst of everything that's happening, and we're finding effective ways, actually. So
great. Anybody got anything else before we let him go? I mean, you can stay around if you want. We're gonna gear it up and talk about some NFL stuff, but if you want to stay on, you can. But
I wish I could. I got meetings right now, man.
Right. We appreciate it, man. Well, it's great to have you. I want you to come back. You let me know, man. Send me your information. I'm going to send you out a shirt so you can rock the Loudmouth Sports Talk stuff, man. It's great to have you. We appreciate it, man.
Yes, appreciate it. Stay safe.
Good luck, man.
All right. You too. I'm going to text you as soon as the show get done.
All right. Let me see y'all.
Thanks, man. Hey, guys. I mean, that's Lamont Wade, Penn State starting safety, senior. That guy, he's the same dude I met back in 2016. And for him to be able to be mature, and you hear how he's talking about coming from Clairton, which isn't a good school, but he's well-spoken. He's a good dude. And those are good guys I just root for and want to be successful. And speaking of that, we're going to bring it to the NFL, and we're going to talk about how I feel like this is one of the seasons where anything can happen. There's so much chaos, but we talk about contracts, right? I want to start with talking about the big contracts of people who got paid and didn't get paid. Obviously, we start with Pat Mahomes' contract. Got 10 years, 400 plus mil. And then obviously with incentives and stuff like that, he left a lot of room open with his contract. And then you see guys like Dak Prescott where he didn't get paid. And for me, I take it personal because you see guys like Dak Prescott has started every single game. He's at every single practice. He's a leader. You never hear him talk bad about his team. He's always building. He's always grinding. Like he's always talking confident about his team. And honestly, the play for me is like I look at Dak and I'm like, man, that dude got it. Like, you can see him make the throws, you can see him make the plays. But when you got a head coach like Jason Garrett, a lot of stuff is going to go wrong. Like, why are we always giving the ball to Ezekiel Elliott on first down when we know that every defense knows first down is going to go to Ezekiel Elliott? Like, that's not smart. And so Dak gets a lot of the bad stuff, but you got guys like Kirk Cousins got paid, Jared Goff got paid, Carson Wentz got paid. Why not Dak? Dak deserves to get paid because he was working on $600. He was working on a fourth round contract for his entire first 4 seasons. Like last year, he only made 1.2 mil, and he's a starting quarterback who won a playoff game, and that's a lot because that's not easy to do. So, what do you guys, Rob? What do you? Because I know you don't watch the NFL, but do you think these contracts are getting out of hand, or did you think Mahomes deserves it? What do you think about that?
I don't know if Mahomes earned that much at 10 years. I mean, you got to think. I mean, you give a guy a 10-year contract. I mean, this year he could blow his knee and he's done. You know, and then he's not the same ever since the next 9. So, giving a guy that much money that early in his career. I mean, he has 1 Super Bowl. He's done a lot of production, but I mean, I need to see a couple more years out of him before he really.
The breakdown of this 10-year contract, though, if that were to happen, they can cut him for a team-friendly deal. The way they broke that contract down, because I think it was Adam Schefter posted a link to it. Yeah. They really, it looks huge smart and blown up for him, but it's very team friendly in that case.
Yeah, that was definitely a smart contract.
Yeah, because so there's a contract where if he gets hurt, he is owed $150 million of it. Yeah, so if there's an injury, he has an injury clause to where if he's hurt. But I think for me, man, you got a quarterback who he sits his first year, and they had a good team. Alex Smith is a good quarterback. He's a manager. He does what he needs to do not to lose games, but he doesn't win games.
Right.
But then you get this guy, and he changes the dynamic of everything. Like that dude can make every throw, every play, but he has that hunger in him that Andy Reid needed to win big games. You sign that man immediately.
And he's flashy. Andy Reid is a flashy ass coach.
Right. When you got Peyton Manning, when you got Tom Brady's, when you got Russell Wilson's, when you got Big Ben's, not even Big Ben because he does some off the field stuff, but when you got guys who are leaders of franchises and everybody just gravitates around them and they want to be around that guy, you got to pay him. Which is why I feel like Dak Prescott, he is that leader on that team, and that man needs a paycheck. But a couple of things, right?
The biggest problem with Dak Prescott has been one of the better quarterbacks they've had in a while, but the biggest problem with that organization is the owner / GM himself. It's Jerry Jones.
Absolutely.
Jerry Jones.
Absolutely.
They could have if things are done right, because they do have talent on the Cowboys. You do it right, man. They could have won a couple more championships in the meantime.
Oh, 100%.
Yep.
There's talent there. It's just it's got to be run right. You know what I mean? Yep. Between him, people that's why most of these owners don't want Dan Snyder to be, pulled out of the Redskins, because they know he's mismanaging that team, and that whole division's like, oh, that's 2 easy wins for me. I'm going to leave him in charge and leave him, that's 2 easy wins for your team. Why wouldn't you? Right. Let them sink or swim. You know what I mean? Yeah. But Dak Prescott's, I think one of the things is Jerry Jones is one of those guys that's like, prove it to me over a longer period of time.
He's Jerry.
Right. But his demeanor, considering from the 90s, like with Aikman and, all those guys, you can't run an organization that same way anymore. Guys are different. Times have changed. You can't base everything off of the old school mentality anymore.
Yeah, Jerry Jones reminds me of like the Donald Trump of Dallas Cowboys. Just my way or the highway, and that's it. Nothing else. And
Yeah, because I think for me, the fact that we have guys like Jerry Jones, where he's the owner, GM, manager, president, secretary, freaking, you know what I mean? Like, and you haven't won since '95. And when you look at it, see, they said it. 1 year is coaching, 1 year is this, 1 year is that. It's so chaotic. And it's the same thing with Dan Snyder. Like, why does Dan Snyder still have a team? Like, especially with all these allegations, with all the women and how they're being treated, it bothers me. Like, being a man, it's like watching the females. Like, obviously, Rob, you have daughters, and but for me, man, like, I take it so personal because I have a sister. I have a beautiful girlfriend. Like, I have a beautiful mom. You know what I mean? Like, it's so personal to see that these women, especially in sports, are being treated so wrong and not fair. And we got an owner who knows about it. And like, you're just going to cover it up. And then the statement you release is literally just like, who cares? Like, you're not saying words. You're just putting it on paper. And that's disgusting. And it's like people like him, like you hear Jerry Jones, he was so vocal talking about, oh, everybody will stand for the flag and this and that. But then when everybody's talking about how Black Lives Matter and we need you to make a statement, you want to be hush-hush, right? So it's like, talk about the right things. There's no reason Dak Prescott does not get a paycheck. Because if you pay him his first year, you pay him his second year, you pay him his third year, you don't pay him as much money as now where markets reset with Pat Mahomes. Does Dak deserve Pat Mahomes? Is he on the same level as Pat Mahomes? No, there's a few people in the world. But you look at him and he's looking at it like, my offensive line got paid. Marcus Lawrence got paid for doing nothing last year. Amari Cooper sat plays out, left me out the hang in the fourth quarter of big games, and he got paid. Ezekiel Elliott got paid 2-3 years before his contract was up. Where's mine?
Yeah,
shit, I'm hungry. You know what I'm saying? That's like
I
taking
totally
care
agree.
of Sean, Dame, and everybody else, and I'm leaving Rob out the dry. Like, no, Rob don't need it. Rob is showing up every show. Rob is doing everything he needs to do, but Rob ain't worth his money.
Rob's just old.
Yeah, Rob's just old, right? And so then when you get to guys like me and Dame had talked about it, Derrick Henry's contract. I thought Derrick Henry should have got paid. And Ryan Tannehill got the money. And I felt like because it's a quarterback market, you don't know that a quarterback is going to be great. And you have to secure that position. So I felt like Ryan Tannehill was what Derrick Henry needed because all the pressure was on him because of Marcus Mariota's ability not to be creative and not to get the offense flowing. Because the only thing that really changed from week 1 through 4 to 5 through 16 was the quarterback. They kept the same system, and it opened it because then Tannehill, when Derrick Henry took the pressure off of him, he made the throws. Like you look at the New England game, Tannehill only threw for maybe 120 yards, but that opening play touchdown,
I think it was 148 he threw for, but it's
148, but it was effective 148. It was that defense on their heels enough to where that big play where he threw to Sharp or Brown, and it's like, oh, whoa, we got to worry about the throw. And then it opens the run game, and then it gets going. So I felt like Derrick Henry's contract is deserved because – and Derrick Henry, he went about it the right way because you heard him talk about it. He didn't care about any other color, but he wanted to be a part of the Titans. It's okay, that man. Like Chris Jones.
How many years was Derrick Henry's contract? How many years? I missed it. How many years?
He got paid 5. It was 4 years, $50 million with 25.5 guaranteed. Yeah, 25.5.
I knew the money. I couldn't remember how many years it was.
Yeah. So no, it was 5 years. 5 years, $50 million, 25.5 guaranteed. So you got guys like those, man, and I just see it all around the league, like Chris Jones. That man is the anchor of the Kansas City Chiefs team, and this is where being a team player, and people talk about Tom Brady. Tom Brady takes pay cuts, and he always was willing to fix his contract to maneuver and get guys, right? Pat Mahomes, their contract was so team-friendly that they were able to finagle it. I like that word, finagle. But he was able to finagle it and get it to the point where now we can get this man taken care of, right? Because now they got Chris Jones out the way. They got Pat Mahomes out the way. Yeah, now they can focus on Watkins and Kelsey next year and Tyreek Hill the year after that. And they have 31 or 32 players coming back from their 31 or 20, 31 or 32 starters who have played coming back. So that Chiefs team, man, they're going to be scary.
Yeah,
they're going to be scary.
Patrick Mahomes' contract doesn't come into effect for 3 years.
Right, and the same thing because now Dak Prescott has the keys in his hands because now he takes the franchise option. Well, he got franchise tag this year for $31 million. He could take a franchise next year. But then what people aren't realizing is Lamar Jackson, his contract's coming up. What is he worth? Then you got Deshaun Watson. What is he worth?
They'll get
So
paid.
he'll get paid, right? And so you looking at these guys and Dak Prescott in 2 years, when all these contracts are going to come up, now we're looking at Mahomes contracts from here on out. So I think it's really good, man. I hope I love when the Cowboys do bad because it makes my day because everybody's Cowboys fans for some reason. But then we start to talk about this COVID stuff. So the NFLPA, they kind of agreed to some details of what they're going to do to start camp. And so players will be tested every single day in the NFL until 5%, under 5% people come back positive. And then they'll go to every other day. But it has to be a league policy. Man, I think that testing is ridiculous. What do you guys think? Like, I feel like getting tested every single day for COVID?
NHL's doing every other.
COVID, it's going to be hard to catch it. Like, you can't, I mean, get tested. I get tested today. I'm negative. It's not like I'm going to go home, get coughed on. I'm going to have COVID tomorrow. So,
right.
You know, like, I think it's a little ridiculous that they're going every day. It'd be nice to have a testing where they get tested and they get the results right then and there. And then you're okay. You guys are good for the next, however many days or however many, like maybe a week or two, and we'll see how well you do. Or keep them in a confined space for the training camps. Hey, you guys can't really go out during this time period during the training camp, and then that's how
One of the things I noticed is like the NFL has kind of like had the longest time to prepare for this,
and they're not prepared,
and they're dropping the ball.
Yeah,
like it's totally like you're flying by the seat of your pants, and your season's like your OTAs and everything are like right around the corner. But no, we're going to cancel this. We're going to cancel the preseason games. But we may not even start our season on time because we don't know our protocols.
Right.
Baseball and NHL got their crap together. It's not that hard.
Right.
They had a couple months to figure it out. NFL's had since the beginning.
Yeah, and for me, man, I'm glad. I was literally about to say it. The NBA has done it the right way. Like again, Adam Silver, man, I think the NBA has the best commissioner because he listens and he understands and he looks at the bigger picture. Every single one of their players, they just had a test. Not a single person positive. Not a single NBA player tested positive in the NBA bubble. The NFL had time to prepare. Obviously, you can't do one big bubble, right? But you can do hub cities and pick different areas and have them go there. Have maybe each division, maybe have the conference. Like you can do it in so many different ways. And like you said, you had so much time to prepare. Like the NFL just dropped the ball. And I feel like the NFL, man, time and time again, you see that they drop the ball at taking care of their players. And it's like the NFLPA, like the collective bargaining agreement. I didn't like it as a player. Like I'm not a player, but for the players' perspective, they lost it. The NFL the owners got exactly what they wanted. Players sold their soul to not have to get drug tests just to be tested for COVID anyway. Like you're still getting tested.
Yeah.
So it's like you just sold your soul and you're not getting taken care of. And man, the NFL, it just pisses me off to see you had the most amount of time and yet you do nothing with that time because then now you're trying to scramble and figure it out. Y'all should have had these arguments when the players was dealing. You had all this time to figure stuff out.
Exactly.
And you didn't. You completely dropped the ball, and that's just a bad job on the NFL.
Now it's starting to look like baseball with players and owners bickering back and forth about money and the CBA stuff.
Right.
When they're two different animals, they should have all should have been taken care of.
Right. And like just to go back to the NFL owners, man, like I feel like with this Washington situation, whether it's the name change, that whether people want to talk about whether it's offensive or it's not offensive and everything with just Dan Snyder, man, he needs to go. I feel like because he is because when you look at the culture, right, Jerry Jones, he controls a lot of what goes on in Dallas. So he is the head. Dan Snyder is the head. If you fire all the people under you, there's still one culture that is still there because of who's in charge. Like, so if you're the problem, if people are noting, now you might not have said anything wrong, but if you know about it, you're just as bad. Same with everything going on in the world. If you're not anti-racist and you're not pissed off about all lives mattering and that everybody needs to be equal, and you're not treating everybody the same way, then you're just as wrong. If you're going to accept and be like, oh, I know about it, but it doesn't pertain to me, I'm going to go away from it, then you're no good. And I feel like Dan Snyder, man, it's like him and James Dolan from the New York Knicks to go to basketball. But I feel like these guys, we keep like the players, and I was just down in DC, and those guys are so tired of losing and they're so tired of Snyder, but you keep marketing it and you keep giving him money. So he's not taking it personal. He's not losing money. Why would he care? Why would he want to make a change if he's not losing money?
The only way he was making that change was when all the sponsors said they were going to pull their money.
FedEx, the FedEx owner, who is a minority, he owns 10% of the team, and he has the name to the stadium. He said, "We are changing this name." Nike took the Redskins off completely. So that is change. Like, but it shouldn't come to that. Like Mark Cuban dealt with something in his team last year, and he came out up front and said, "This is on me." Whether he knew about it or not, he said, "This is my program. This is me. I will take care of it and make a change because it's so bad and this is so wrong." And that's how you come out and make. And then we, like, even with the Black Lives Matter and everything going on with George Floyd, Colin Kaepernick is still not a quarterback in the league. And this is something that I want to talk about. And it's like, does he deserve? Is it kind of on him why he got cut and play and stuff? Yes, but the fact that the NFL still has not apologized to him and said, we messed this up. And guys like Jerry Jones, who was so vocal and so adamant on crucifying him and talking about, oh, no, we're going to stand. It's patriotic. 4 years later, we're still screaming the thing like, rest in peace. Congressman John Lewis just died, right? And he had a message. And if you look at the message that he said in 1965, the same exact thing he's talking about fighting. Here we are in 2020, and we're still fighting the same thing. Like the Confederacy stuff is finally being banned in 2020. And we're like, it baffles me that people think flying the Confederate flag isn't disrespectful, but Colin Kaepernick taking a knee to bring in like attention to injustices of what America, what I prided myself on becoming a Marine for, what all my brothers and sisters who's in the military have fought for you guys to not take a stand and come around and be like, maybe we need to listen. And that's where I respect guys like Drew Brees and everybody who has finally said, listen, it's not about the flag. It's about making sure we are all treated as equal, man. And I know Dame has been so vocal about it, and we're going to add Robbie here. What's up, man?
How y'all doing?
Good, buddy.
But Dame, you can go ahead. How do you feel about it, man?
I mean, I've
You can go, Robbie.
no, please. You seem like you had a something profound. Typically coming out of your brilliant brain.
Extend off of what Courtney was saying. It takes a lot because the Drew Brees situation, it took him a major mistake in order to actually sit down and call himself out and say that it's not about what was going on. And he had to sit down, had a whole meeting with his entire team, and actually became the leader that we were all praising him to already be. But this time outside of football. And I saw something today or yesterday that was saying about how when people get so mad about disrespecting the veterans, and Courtney, I don't know if this is gonna get under your skin or bother you, but it was saying all the people that get mad at Colin Kaepernick and others kneeling during the national anthem because it's disrespecting veterans. They said, when's the last time that a war was actually fought to protect our rights? Like it was more of, we're going to help this person, so we fight a war to protect those countries from others trying to take their land. Like it's all about respecting the people that are actually protesting our rights and stuff like that. Like, well,
I sorry to cut you off, but I feel a little bit that's kind of, you're missing the point, because for people to say that anytime America gets involved, yes, it's for the benefit of America, but I think it's because we have so much influence as a nation, because we are supposed to be the greatest nation. We are supposed to be known to come together. And that's the biggest thing about when you look at the Vietnam War, right, one of the biggest wars we fought, if you don't include the war in Afghanistan. But the Vietnam War, America didn't know. They got involved, and people were questioning whether they should or should not have, and they didn't know who they were fighting. They're thinking they're fighting one group, and then it turns out they're fighting two different entities, right? That was probably the one war that we lost. So I think people start to get the message removed when they talk about, oh, well, we're not even, when's the last time we fought for, anytime you see American military in another land, know that they're fighting to keep it away from us. That's
Right.
the problem. And I think, so we don't want to take away from that, right? Like my brothers and sisters who, like I got some boys in Kuwait and stuff like that, like they are fighting over there to make sure that what happened on 9/11 never happens again, because that was one of the worst things that ever happened. So don't get taken away from
Right.
that, because that's what's important. America is the best. We are the greatest country in the entire world, but that's because we are willing to stand up to anybody. And to President Trump's credit, that's the one thing I will credit him on as far as being a commander in chief. He has made it known that America is not weak, and we will go to war at any time with anybody, any place, and because that's who we are. So I don't want the message of the Black Lives Matter and when's the last time we fight something about our rights. We fight for our rights every single day overseas. And
Right.
yeah, there's a personal gain, of course, for America, but it's a bigger picture. And
Right.
but with that being said, we have to honor those veterans when we talk about the flag, who the flag honors. We need to make sure we talk about the Black people, because Black people, if you go even back to the Confederacy, slaves are fighting wars, right? And so that Confederacy, the American Union, the flag was flying, and we have Confederates who wanted to keep slaves. And that's the biggest problem, is like Black people have been fighting wars that we were fighting for America's freedom, and we didn't even have it. And then we fight those wars, we come back, and even the Vietnam War, guys were getting spit on, knowing they just dealt with toxins, knowing they just fought a war where we had no benefit right from it, and guys are still not being treated equal. That's all this whole thing is us being treated as one. And in order for us to be treated as one, we need to understand that these group of people aren't being treated right, and we need to be treated equal. And so that's just the biggest message, man. And like the NFL, like you playing the Black national anthem per se, what does that do? That's cute, but it does nothing for us. Let's talk about how there's one minority owner in the NFL, and Chad Khan from Jacksonville. Let's talk about how there's only two Black GMs in the entire league. One's with Cleveland, and the other one's with who's the other Black GM? I can't remember off the top of my head. But like, why is it that guys like Freddie Kitchens can go from quarterbacks coach to offense coordinator to head coach in 9 months, but you have the guy like Eric Bieniemy from Kansas City, who's been an offensive coordinator, who's been an offensive coordinator for a Super Bowl team. He's been an offensive coordinator for years, and he has the background to show that he can be a head coach, but he doesn't even get the chance, right? Like that's what we're talking about with social and I think that's the message where people forget. It's not about changing the name of Master Bedrooms, or changing the name of to play the Black national anthem, or put a Black Lives Matter painting. It's actually make change, actually show that you want everybody to get a fair chance, because it's not just Black people who are the minorities. Black people are trying to fight for all minorities, whether you're gay, straight, Jewish, anything where you feel like you're at a disadvantage. That's what the whole message is about. And I'm sorry that I'm going on a tangent, and we're going to switch it up because I want to get back to sports. But we're going to go ahead and let Rob go ahead and we're going to bring your hockey on, man. So I'm sorry about that, guys, but I take it so personal because it means so much to me.
Yeah, we'll do some mucking and grinding, huh?
Right.
Come on. Robbie was sitting there with the dangling and all this other stuff. He's quiet over there. But,
30 dangles, baby. Bar down.
but no, hey, the Pens have had two scrimmages at home. First one, they split it up where it was a black team versus the gold team. It was lines 1 and 2, and the bottom two defending pairs, and Tristan Jarry. The other was lines 3 and 4 with the other top two defending pairs and Matt Murray. Well, that one went to Tristan Jarry and the black team 7-0. Yesterday they went to a 3-3 tie. They just basically switched goaltenders. Matt Murray fared a little bit better, but there was no Sid. Sid left the game, the first game, and halfway through, It's undisclosed. They're not allowed to disclose any injuries right now. Coach Sullivan said they seem like all the other guys in the locker room said it seems to be minor or just maintenance. But it's nice to see that everybody's healthy. You got Jake Gensel back. You'll have 4 lines that can run with any team. But it all comes back to how short of a leash do you have for Matt Murray? Is it game 1 against Montreal where they go? It's 3-1 at the end of the first period. Do you pull them then? Because these games mean more. It's like a playoff series before the playoffs. Does it mean more? Do you sit there and make defensive changes? Say if Jack Johnson's not playing up to par, or even Crystal Tang, you make those changes. I know Crystal Tang would probably never come out of the lineup if he made a mistake, but it's just one of those deals. You know what I mean? You have to be on top of it. You have to be look, you can't waste time and screw around.
So for me, man, I feel like the thing with Murray, because we talked about it, it's just I feel like because I don't believe in pulling guys right off the bat, right? Like Matt Murray, whether you hate him or love him, he deserves that respect to get his opportunity. So I think you give him up until playoff time. And then if you see game 1 after they do the exhibition games or whatever you want to call them to finish the regular season, if after you see him, then you make that decision, right? But I feel like he deserves the respect. He is a 2-time Stanley Cup champ. And it's getting back into skating again. You're getting back into the field. So it's going to take you a little bit. It's not easy to be a professional in any sport. So I think you got to give him the opportunity.
Here's my thing, but do you feel like Matt Murray's getting the benefit of the doubt because that's what's his name's boy?
That's Sully's boy, absolutely. Because like what Courtney said, with him being a 2-time Stanley Cup champion, half of those wins were flurries. And if you go back and look at the stats from those games, the stats from the flurry games, those guys didn't block as many shots as they did when they blocked shots from Matt Murray. They blocked a ton of shots. You can ask Nick Bonino, broken leg for blocking a shot. Brian Rust, breaking bones. I mean, these guys were breaking bones, blocking shots for Matt Murray. I mean, it was just the style was just changed. That's all it was.
No,
and I think after those 2 things with Matt Murray, though, his confidence kind of went down. After Fleury went to Vegas, his confidence went down. You could see there, like he wasn't as. I don't think he was as confident in himself. He has a new goalie coach now, and they said Matt Murray looks better than ever. But in these 2, little exhibitions that they've had so far, it doesn't sound as good. I think maybe he just needs to get into the mentality, hey, I'm back. I know he just, he's got a baby on the way and stuff like that. Things are on your mind. I get it, but these guys have to put that aside and be professionals. You know what I mean? You have to step up and be, it's basically go all in,
Well, let me tell you. So I look at it as Nick Foles and Carson Wentz situation, right? To kind of compare injuries, right? So when you look at it, Carson Wentz should have been the MVP, right? Like he should have been the MVP of the year. He up to 13 games. He was the best player in football. Then he gets hurt. Nick Foles then wins them a Super Bowl, right? You could say that's Matt Murray, right? He came in to already playoff team. He comes in and wins. That next year, when everybody's talking about who should it be, what did they do? They was like, okay, we got you. Carson Wentz, show us. Carson Wentz then, whether it was injuries or whether it was confidence or whatever it was, he had that back in his mind like, oh, no, this guy should be the starter, right? And so for Matt Murray, it's kind of the same thing because now Nick Foles is gone. Now everybody's like, okay, he's not there to save you. What are you going to do, right? Like, are you going to show us that you are the guy? And it's the same thing with Matt Murray, but also it doesn't help that you're in the middle of a pandemic. You're not – I give him a lot of flack because I feel like Murray's problem is he's the smallest 6'4" goaltender in the league. Like,
he's like 170 pounds.
He had to increase. Like he's in a blue area like 2 months. Like, bro, come out and show it. Like
if you go back, like NHL Network has the Penguins 2016 Cup Finals on against San Jose. Now, when you look at Matt Murray, when he was down in the butterfly, he was up, his posture was up. You could see there was like ooze of confidence. Now, when you see him, it's almost like he's cowered down. He's all tucked into himself. He needs to be bigger, play bigger.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
You have all that equipment on. Jesus, I'd kill to play in that equipment.
Do you think Shea Weber will go? Your daughter has a question for you. Do you think Shea Weber will go against Sid or Gino?
It's tough to tell because Carl Alsner's not playing. He opted out. Carl Alsner probably would have been up against Gino, but I mean, that leaves Shea Weber. He's going to log a lot of ice time because he's kind of healthy. And there's going to be a little bit of cheap shot. I think he's going to end up playing if Sully plays his cards right and because you figure most of the Pens games are going to be 3 of the 5 are going to be home games for us. Sully will have the last matchup, so he'll be able to pull Sid off and put Gino's line out there against them, or put the third line out there with McCann, Marlowe, and Hornquist. Like the defensive group for Montreal is kind of, half of their defensive group's not playing. And that hurts.
So who's your predictions? Who do you got?
I'll give you a prediction, but I got players to watch for Montreal first. Obviously it's going to be Carey Price. Carey Price is, everybody says, the best goaltender in the league. I don't agree with that. There hasn't really been one guy that stands out amongst everybody the past couple of years. But it will be Carey Price because they just say he could steal a series and stuff like that. He's that good where he could. Jonathan Drouin, Nick Suzuki, and this kid Romanoff that they have coming. He's actually coming back over from Russia. He's a pretty good player. They don't have the firepower the Pens have. So it's going to be one of those things where the Penguins can, basically outduel them. And Carey Price was even quoted as they asked him, they said, well, what are you going to do against the Penguins, power play with Sid and Gino out there? He's like, hopefully they stay at the hotel because that's my best chance. He's got a sense of humor, but he's not wrong. He's going to get peppered with shots. He's going to get peppered. And just by watching these scrimmages so far, they're flying. The Pens are flying, man. They all look good. They're all healthy, and that's the best part about it. And hope they all stay healthy.
Yeah, and if the Pens get Gensel back.
Yeah, that's huge because now you move Zucker to the second line with Gino, and they haven't missed a beat.
Get them jerseys, baby. Shout out to TJ Kiger. Get them Gensel jerseys.
Yeah, he was talking to me back and forth the other day about bringing Fleury back as a mentor. You chirped in on it too. It's not in the cards. It's salary cap wise. It's not a good idea that way. It's not a good business decision. I know he's fan friendly and all that other stuff, and we all loved him because I was one of them. I love Fleury too, but we got to remember, Court. Remember how everybody was trying to boo him out of time before. You remember that? Before
you was
that
we said, do not get rid of him.
Everybody wanted to get rid of him, but then all of a sudden, it's that Pittsburgh thing. Everybody loves the backup quarterback or the backup goalie, or that's just what it is, man. But prediction wise, I'm gonna say Pens in 3, man. They're just gonna sweep their little series and wait. But
who's the scariest team in the NHL playoffs? Who's the team to watch out for? Because I feel like, to be honest, them little weirdos in DC, I hate them. I don't even want to say their name. Everything about them sucks. Besides them, I hate them.
You got to give respect to St. Louis. They're the defending Cup champions. Colorado's, another tough team. Philadelphia, Carter Hart actually just got hurt at their scrimmage today. That hurts them big time because Carter Hart's a big part of that team moving forward. His kid's a great young goaltender. Colorado, they're like a smaller version of the Penguins. They have 2 lines, not 4. But, Colorado still, it's one of those things. Everybody's healthy now. You just have to wait and see how it plays out. You got to watch the one thing with New York Rangers. They're playing the Carolina Hurricanes, 2 young, hungry teams. the Rangers, Lundqvist hasn't even been thought of playing in net for them. They have three other young goaltenders that are fighting it out right now. I can't. Stensonov, I think, is the kid that's like the front runner right now. He came out of nowhere and he's just been playing lights out. But yeah, it's just there's a lot. There's a lot going on. I love the testing that they've been going through. All the guys, the 9 guys from the Pens who were sidelined as a precaution are all back now. They were mainly like Sam Poulin. Hornquist was one of the main guys out of that group, but it was like Sam Poulin, Pierre-Olivier Joseph, and stuff like that. There was a couple other younger guys that just pulled aside as precautionary reasons.
All right, man. Do you have anything else you want to talk about before we transition?
What's that?
Do you have anything else you want to talk about before we transition?
Oh yeah, I got one thing. Shout out to Michelle Bombshell Bowling, man. I said, get your shirts, guys. I mean, come on, it helps us out. If I can make this look good, you can look good in it too. Even like most of us do have pride and wear our shirts. You know what I mean? Some of our group members seem to forget about that for some reason. We're doing a lot of shirts.
Right.
At least Damien shaved for the occasion, at least. But hey, guys, I appreciate.
You guys.
Oh, Robbie did too. I just noticed that. I didn't really pay much attention to him. Yeah, because he don't mean much.
Wow. Okay, cool.
But hey, I'm gonna jump off since I am on vacation with the family and extended family and everything. I appreciate you guys, man. We'll be doing this again real soon, man. I'll talk to you guys later.
Yes, sir.
Have a good night.
And
again, hey, shout out to Miss Michelle at Bombshell Bowling. Get your shirts, man. $20.
Yeah, she takes care of us.
bombshellbowling.com/loudmouth sports talk. It's been great. We appreciate Miss Michelle and everything she does. We got a couple things in the works. We got some big news. We got some exciting stuff. So thanks, Rob, for having us on the show. And now we're going to bring it to my man, Dame Dollar. What's up, man? NBA world. Bring me up to speed about what's going on in the NBA. Because I'm going to let this be known. LeBron James for MVP, and that's all I got to say for right now. But go ahead, man. Kick it up.
There's not too much different going on that hasn't been already posted or heard. No games that I have heard of, no scrimmages outside of practices. Teams are starting training camp, and as you said earlier, NBA tested all of their players, and not a single one of them came up positive for the coronavirus. More or less, it's all just speculation and Q&As. ESPN always asking questions about LeBron. The current owner of the Timberwolves is looking to sell Glenn Taylor after owning it for 26 years. He's looking to sell it, and there's a few groups apparently. Kevin Garnett being a single person in one of these groups that is interested. But Glenn Taylor is quoted saying that he's only going to sell to someone who's looking to get the team out of Minnesota. So that could always be interesting. Q&As, and like I said, ESPN always trying to stir stuff up about LeBron. A whole bunch of experts went through predicting LeBron James' future, his titles, and his legacy.
That's what happens when everyone's bored, is they start talking about LeBron.
Well, yeah, NBA topic, LeBron.
They want to make money. They're like,
yeah,
LeBron James.
You know what? We haven't talked about LeBron a whole lot in the group. I'm thinking maybe we should start bringing up LeBron's name. Yeah, daily.
I mean,
call LeBron. Call LeBron.
All right, so Dame, I got a question for you, man. Here, let me restart. This is you. Hey, go ahead, man. Go ahead, kick it off. Let me know what you got going on.
What you want me to do? What's your question?
So I want to know, who's your MVP? Because this is going to be important to I want you to let me know how you feel.
So MVP, the two leading candidates, it's pretty simple, plain out who you assume it would be. You got to go with Giannis and LeBron. Personally, I'm going to edge out for LeBron because I think after the Lakers being dead last or second to last, he goes and joins. He brings them the 4th seed in the league, as I was corrected in an argument, or well, not even an argument, a discussion earlier. And then he misses 20 games due to a groin injury or a quad injury, whichever one. They go down and miss the playoffs that season. And then he comes back and he gets Anthony Davis alongside of him. And then they go to first seed in the NBA. However, a lot of people will give more credit to AD than they are LeBron, but that is just how people will always be for LeBron. They decide to never give him the credit he deserves.
Right.
ESPN will do the complete opposite and give LeBron all of the credit.
Right. Because so if I can bring myself in, man, but like I feel like for some reason we do this as people where it's like when it comes to greatness, right? It's like we make an excuse or a reason. Only person who never had to deal with it was Michael Jordan, right? Because he won so much. People are like, he's untouchable.
Yeah.
Even Tom Brady, people question, oh, well, he only won because of Bill Belichick. And that's the reason why he's in Tampa Bay. But for me, if you take LeBron James off, right? And this is the year where you could talk about LeBron James being valuable. When he's off the court, they're 28th in the league in scoring. When he's on the court, they're numbers 2. And I feel like for me, with LeBron James, if you take him off that team and you put AD on, you have another New Orleans where maybe they make the 8th seed, maybe, but they're not going to be good enough to compete in the West because you have so many teams in the West who are loaded. You start with the Clippers. You got the Trailblazers. You got Denver. You got Utah. You have Dallas Mavericks, who I'm telling you, the sleeper team, and we're going to talk about this. The Dallas Mavericks, I would not want to deal with them if I am an NBA team because Kristaps Porzingis, along with Luka Doncic and Tim Hardaway Jr., shout out to him, I'm telling you, those guys are going to be scary. But then you have the Houston Rockets. Like, you take Giannis off of the Bucks. They're a great coach team, and they're in the East. They're going to be a 4-5 seed. And this is where it becomes dominant versus Kobe Bryant should have won MVP or Shaq should have won MVP 04, 05. But why didn't they? Because Steve Nash, not Steve Smith, but Steve Nash was so valuable to his team that he made everybody better. LeBron James is a point guard. He's averaging 20 and 10. Giannis is 30, 10, but it's a different feeling. You got dominance versus value. You know what I mean? And you've seen it when before the NBA shut down, the Lakers had just beat Giannis on a Friday, and then they came Sunday and took care of the Clippers. And LeBron James he held Giannis in check, and he held Kawhi in check. The value of LeBron James, man, is just like, we compare LeBron James to greats already. Like, he's still playing in the league, but we compare him to greatness because we don't have anything to go by because he's not on the same level as anybody he's playing with.
Right.
So, LeBron for MVP.
I still think the Bucks win the finals if they go to the finals against the Lakers. I mean, you give me Bucks Lakers in the finals, I still see the Bucks coming away. Maybe it takes 7 games.
Are you talking with the reset or if they continue the season?
I'm talking, from today. I'm talking if they go in there like they're supposed to, go into the bubble, play their playoffs.
Milwaukee will not make it out. I'm taking the field. Milwaukee will not make it out of the playoff. Up to the NBA Finals.
You don't think so?
Because no. And here's why. If they got to go against the Miami Heat, they're going to struggle. If they have to go against, now that Ben Simmons is playing the 4, you're going to struggle against Philly. You're going to struggle against Boston. If you got to go against any of those 3s, which they're going to meet 2 of them, which one are you going to choose that Milwaukee is going to be? Because here's what you have to realize. They're a great team as long as Giannis is able to bring the ball up court, which is why Miami, they had brought Bam Adebayo. Yeah. When they put Giannis and they made him pick up his dribble and they front guarded him, he struggled. And it wasn't one time. The Lakers did the same thing. Giannis is not going to shoot his shot as much. You have to force Giannis not to dominate. And once you do that, what do you have?
Right.
Maybe the deepest cast of role players in the NBA.
Yeah, I was about to say. I'm not gonna.
That was the setup. That was the setup because he has a lot of people around him. They're deep.
I'm not gonna discredit them because they're coming back with their full team into this restart. From what I believe, from what I've heard, and the Lakers are losing Avery Bradley because he said he's not coming to play, and Rondo.
But they got J.R. Swish.
Yeah, the most streaky player in NFL history. his last season or most previous season, and then they just lost Rajon Rondo to a hand injury for 6 to 8 weeks or something like that. So depending on how it all plays out, what all goes down in the timetable of it, they could be in some big trouble. Because if they
I don't think they'll move the needle too much.
You don't
Not
think
to interrupt, but I mean it's the shell of Rajon Rondo and whatever's left in Avery Bradley.
I mean, I'm not gonna say Rajon Rondo is the best point guard in the league anymore. Like back when
nobody
was
outside of
Celtics
Boston
in
would say
his
that.
prime, yeah. Like once he left Boston, he wasn't the same. But if you take LeBron off the court, there's now nobody except J.R. Smith to bring the ball up. Or what are you going to do? Give it to Danny Green to bring up the ball and play opposite his play style?
I mean, when you got LeBron James, and this is going to run counter to how I feel about your most valuable player in the NBA. When you got LeBron James, you could pull anybody who's got even the most rudimentary handle off the street, tell them to play point guard for 10 minutes a game.
Right.
I mean, hell, he won titles with Mario Chalmers, and that's something.
And Norris Cole.
And Norris Cole on Norris Cole.
Oh, y'all
When
gonna forget
nobody
about
point
Matthew
guard.
Dellavedova? Dellavedova.
Hey, Delly.
Not to stand for any disrespect for Delly, though. That dude was a dog.
He was a dog. He had some damn good defense this series.
The way he gets up right in people's jersey collar is just it's
This
impressive.
man played. Look, this is how funny it is, right? Dellavedova played so hard that he literally his body shut down on him because he had not been used to playing as much as he did. He had one series. He was playing so hard that his body shut down. And that's why Delly was hurt. But
Hey,
in all
Courtney.
seriousness, man,
Hey, Courtney,
what's up?
somebody just said that you almost sound like a half an ESPN analyst.
Yeah, I can see it.
Which half though? The Skip half or the Stephen A half?
Oh no.
I want to be the Uncle Shay Sharp half.
No, you're not drinking a Henny and smoking.
Drinking our hen dog.
Skip. Skip.
Skip.
But no, it's all news, and they're breaking down percentages on how many more championships they think LeBron's going to win, or how many more seasons he plays after this. It's nothing too serious. There's not many big contracts being paid out yet, at least because I
watch this offseason. It's gonna be barren.
Yeah.
There is going to be no money to go around this offseason. One dude is getting paid, and it's because he's buddies with LeBron, and also the best Robin in the league.
Yeah, I would almost say main hero just as much as LeBron. I don't know.
Here's what I want to know. Who's your dark horse pick, Dame, to do something special? Because I'm telling you, the Dallas Mavericks are going to surprise. If the Clippers run into the Dallas Mavericks, I'm telling you they're going to lose. Kristaps Porzingis and Luka Doncic, I'm telling you, they're going to be a problem for the Lakers. But the Lakers being the number one seed, I feel like it's going to be fun. But I'm telling, so I like the Mavs. I'm going to go with the Mavs.
Me and Robbie have talked about this previously, and even in the comment thread that you had posted about who the powerhouses are of the East-West, I will fight this battle until I die on the hill that the Portland Trail Blazers, if you meet them at full strength, they are going to be a hell of a team to take a 7-game series.
Right.
Every single time. I will argue that forever.
Because who's their big man that just came back? He's healthy.
Nurkic. Yusuf Nurkic.
Bosnian Bear.
Yeah.
Maybe the best nickname in the NBA. Second best.
What's the first?
Tsunami Poppy is definitely number one.
Who the hell is that?
Kelly Oubre.
Oh my god.
Yeah, Kelly Oubre, Tsunami Poppy, nickname number one. Look it up.
But no, I will fight that battle till I die. Every single season, the Trailblazers even whenever KD, James Harden, and Russ were all in OKC, Portland took them the Game 7 series, I think, 3 out of 3 times that they played. It doesn't matter.
They're always going to be scrappy.
They just played nose down, hard ass head freaking basketball.
Lillard is the warrior leader
So you said the Raptors, Robbie. I want to know why you feel like, because I got a team that's similar in the Rockets, and I'm gonna get into mine. So go ahead and let me know why you think the Raptors.
See, here's what I think about the Raptors is they came out this year. They came out the gates and they came out hot. They come out, they're still a top seed in the East, even though they lost, Kawhi friggin' Leonard. They lost Danny Green. That might have been their two biggest pieces during that playoff run, right? Somebody who was scoring 35 a night and somebody who was scorching it from the perimeter.
No, I don't agree because I think
you're Kyle Lowry
no,
guy.
I think Van Fleet should have won Finals MVP if we're
I
being
agree.
honest. Because in fourth
Agreed.
quarter, he was a baller. Pascal Siakam just took over and gave Kawhi Leonard the ability to do what he did. And so
Pascal,
go ahead.
Pascal
Continue.
and Van Vliet are actually the two biggest reasons why I'm thinking they're actually going to be maybe the toughest out in the East. Because Van Vliet, he plays a lot bigger than 6'1". You can play him at the 1, he'll defend 1s. You can play him at the 2, he'll defend 2s, and he'll do the whole thing while scoring 19 a game and shooting 40% from the 3-point line. Siakam's going to get in the middle of the court. He's going to score from the post. He's going to score from the perimeter. He's going to drive from the perimeter. He'll defend your best wing. They just have able reinforcements. They lost 2 big dudes this offseason, 2 of their biggest dudes, and they come back and they're still contending. Like, that speaks to the coaching and that speaks to the player development. And that speaks to the guys they got on the team.
That's why.
And I'm glad you said it because Nick Nurse, man, shout out to him because for him to do what he did and just how much and shout out to not even just Nick Nurse, but Budenholzer is a good coach.
Yeah,
there's
some great coaches in the East. Like maybe the talent level's low, but there's some really big coaching talent.
Right, you got Boston, a great coach. Man, like Budenholzer's another one. Nick Nurse, just like you said. But for me, the Raptors, I feel like they have. I mean, the Rockets. I'm going to give them a little bit of edge because the NBA bubble is going to be like AAU basketball.
Yeah,
who is a better one-on-one guy than that assassin who might be the greatest scorer in NBA history? Right, I'm willing to put that up there and say KD and James Harden are so prolific. Right, it's like that's scary because I feel like you go one-on-one with James Harden and then you still got to deal with Russell Westbrook. Now they're going small ball, which I don't think is going to really work to their advantage once they got to go against a team like.
Think about the last few years, though. Last few years, what teams have been really showing out in the playoffs? And it's teams that can rely on blitz lineups, small ball lineups for big minutes.
But it's different because, look, think about it. You got Klay Thompson and Steph Curry, who are the greatest shooting backcourt ever.
Absolutely.
Right? And then they added KD. So now you got 3 assassins, and then you still got AD and Draymond. That's a different type of skill. So you can't match up with that. But if they had Clint Capella, I would believe the Rockets would. I'd be like, yo, they can win it. They can win it all. But
I don't know.
Go with
Russell Westbrook as a 6'2" center is legit.
Yeah.
Right. I'm being half kidding. I'm half kidding. I'm half kidding, but look at his numbers since they started. Basically, him at the 5 or whatever you want to call it. He's scoring over 30 a game, the most efficient shooting he's ever had in his career. He doesn't have to play the perimeter anymore. He can just slash and jump and run and be a jackalope and get all up and just fly off down the court, jump over everybody, through everybody, and score.
That's true.
And the biggest advantage for him is he already contracted coronavirus, so there's not really a risk of him catching it again. So he's one player that you don't need to worry about whether they can be taken out or not.
He'll be there.
Very true.
You got a guy. I think the biggest X factor for the Rockets is going to be the PJ Tucker, Robert Covington front court, because Covington can defend literally every single player on this planet, and probably go to the NFL and defend a bunch of them too. Who even knows? He's a ridiculous defensive player. When his 3-point shot is on, he's an X factor. PJ Tucker's 3-point shot is always on because he only ever shoots from the corners, and when he shoots from the corners, he shoots about 97%. You take that dude, he can still run up and down the court with everybody. He's 6'5", but he's stronger than that, and he can defend every center. I mean, you got 2 dudes right there that can defend, 5 positions between the 2 of them and shoot 40% from 3. That's gross. Then you throw in the score in NBA history and 6'2" center Russell Wilson. That's dangerous.
Westbrook.
But then if you got to go, like, for instance, they're the 5 seed, and they got to go against the 4 seed, which is, I'm pretty sure, it's the Jazz.
I think so.
You do not want to deal with Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. I would stay away from those guys because they got corona. They like to give it to people.
Oh no!
Kidding, not kidding. Hey, no, but hey, but is there? Dave, you got anything else for us? If not, we're going to transition. But if you got something, keep going.
Outside of just the shocking news that I was just learning, like I said, about the Wolves being sold and KG being one of the interested buyers. I mean, just that in itself, I think, could be beneficial for that team because having somebody that is a player or a former player to that capacity, I should say. Granted, it could go terribly wrong and bomb that entire organization because who knows if he's actually a good owner at that point.
There's no way KG moves him out of Minnesota, though.
Right. That's what I don't think KG.
Hold up. First of all, who the hell wouldn't want to be out of Minnesota? Shit, get me the fuck out of there. The quickest flight.
You don't like trees,
Man,
Canada nearby?
Hey, listen, bro.
That's
Listen,
awesome.
if I'm a player,
Courtney, you're Kirk Cousins stan. What do you mean you want to get out of Minnesota?
hold up, mention 85% of the league is black. 90%, probably 95%, if we're being honest. If you tell me, hey bro, you gotta go to Minnesota to live, give me somewhere else. Shit, hell no.
You know that's
Skip me. So Dame, who you got winning? Who's your NBA champion? Who you got?
The NBA
Your career depends on
champion.
it.
My career does not depend on this
Your loudmouth career does.
because
Come on, give us that hot take.
I've been taking some sports bets before and they've gone poorly.
Say the Blazers.
No, I would never say that. They choke in the conference finals.
But you know Dame got game.
Dame does have game. No, I'm not gonna give a single prediction because I don't think it could come down to this because
Lakers in 6. Get out of here.
Hold on, let me get my look. I'll put this on. Hold on.
He's got a whole thing. Sorry to everyone viewing from home for waiting on Damian.
Yeah.
Lakers in 5.
There we go.
Oh Jesus!
All right.
I was trying to look for my shades, but I couldn't find them. No,
That's okay. Courtney's a better look than LeBron anyway.
true.
Hey, appreciate it.
If I'm gonna be honest, out of the West, I could see the Lakers coming out. Obviously, them and the Clippers are the two biggest powerhouses in the West, and there's no arguing that. If I were to have a surprise team come out of the West, it would either be Denver or Utah.
We have not even touched on Denver.
No, Denver is such a untalked about, like, most talented team.
Here's why. If it was the NBA playoffs and they could play in Denver, I would have gave them more respect. But they're not in Denver, so who the hell cares?
The Nuggets always feel like they're one piece away too.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what that one piece is. Maybe it's another ball handler. Maybe it's a Robert Covington type. Who even knows? I mean, every team can use a Robert Covington. I got a crush on Robert Covington. But
Then out of the East, the Raptors, the Bucks.
I think the Celtics are coming out the East.
The Celtics could be that quiet team that comes up, sneaks out on everybody.
they're gonna live and die by Jason Tatum.
Yes,
Jason Tatum. Kobe Tatum.
That is going to be their living and dying weapon.
Jason Tatum is the closest thing in the NBA today to us having the Mamba.
Listen,
Dude,
hold up. Nope, I disagree. You want to know who has more Mamba than Jason Tatum?
Who?
Devin Booker.
Steph Curry. And I'm telling you, listen.
I mean, if we're talking about the mentality, then yes. I'm talking about the game.
Steph Curry too. When Steph Curry's hot, shit. Hey, listen.
Mamba never shot like Curry.
No, I'm just saying.
Curry never played defense like Mamba.
No,
but nobody cares. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the Mamba mentality where like I'm gonna click up, and when I'm hot, hey, Curry ceiling.
You want me to be honest with you, Courtney? I think Klay Thompson is more Kobe mentality than Steph Curry is.
Yeah, they're together. That's what makes them so special. They both have
deal with every conversation.
Even if you took Klay Thompson away from the Warriors, I still think he would be so much better than Steph Curry in a single. I promise you, that man's all-around game is.
But here,
so beyond.
But I think Klay would transcend the system as well as anybody. Because the way you're absolutely right, his game plays on every his game plays on 30 teams and every G League team.
Yeah,
but so does here's the biggest thing. You take Klay Thompson away, and do the Warriors succeed? Of course not. Like you can't say what they created was great, but it's the same thing of like if you put Steph in any system, right? Like that dude can shoot his lights out, and he has that mentality to make people better, and he's a factor.
I bet you the Magic would ruin him.
All right,
You're not wrong though.
we're moving on. We're moving on. Hey, all right. Hey, Robbie, go ahead, man. Kick it. Go, because we got to move on.
All right. We're towards the end of the show here, and baseball is the least popular sport in America now, so it's not going to be a long one. But opening days this week, so yeah. But we got two big matchups on opening day. We got Yankees are going against the Nationals. They actually got permission to play in D.C. We actually have a pitching matchup announced. Brace yourself. I know this is surprising for everybody. I was shocked. It's going to be Garrett Cole and Max Scherzer. I know. I'm surprised too. But they're both healthy, which is cool. Scherzer's back. He was feeling a little rough all year last year. He only threw about 170 innings. He was dealing with a plethora of maladies, and he's back in all of his blue and green-eyed glory. They're gonna. I don't think either of them is gonna have a great day. I think they're both gonna kind of get lit up a little bit. I'm thinking that game ends like 9-8. But we got a second big matchup on opening day, the actual opening day. We got Dodgers at Giants. We don't have a pitching matchup announced, but there were some. We got some injuries, that are going to impact that one. Obviously, we already know Buster Posey and his wife have adopted baby twins. So good on them. But that means Buster Posey has announced that he is not going to be playing this season. He has opted out to think about the safety of his family. As far as people who haven't opted out, the Giants are going to be missing Brandon Belt. He's got a right heel issue. Evan Longoria has a right oblique strain. So basically what that means for the Giants is they have no hope on opening day. The Dodgers are at full strength. They've lost no one. We're probably going to see Clayton Kershaw starting for them. If not him, then Walker Buehler. If we're going to talk about guys who could win the Cy Young this season, it's going to be Walker Buehler. He's ridiculously talented. He just keeps people from scoring runs, and he keeps people from touching the ball. And as a former pitcher, I can tell you the two most important things you can do are keep people from scoring runs and keep people from touching the ball. He's really good at both of those things.
You mean you shouldn't let people hit homers off you?
I learned that a little bit too late, too. If I would have learned that home runs a little bit sooner, maybe you all would be talking about me playing ball on opening day. Anyway, segue. Dodgers actually did have some injury issues, but looks like Austin Barnes, who was dealing with a hand problem, he caught Clayton Kershaw, which means he's fine. He's going to be ready to go on opening day. Max Muncy, who plays about 11 different positions and hits bombs, he's going to be playing on opening day. He's all good. He had a finger issue, probably from shooting the bird too hard at a racist, and he's all healed up from that, so he's ready to go hit some dingers. Harkening back to the Yankees and Nats game, the Yankees are going to be without DJ LeMahieu. He's having some issues, but he should be back within a couple of weeks because the Yankees can't do anything without getting hurt. Aroldis Chapman has COVID-19. He is currently listed as out indefinitely, which really means 2 weeks, if we're being technical. Masahiro Tanaka is likely to come back by July 31st. Unfortunately, that means he's not in time for opening day, as far as my math holds up. He has a concussion. I don't know if anyone saw the video, but Giancarlo Stanton, who's finally healthy, hit a laser beam line drive right back up the middle at him, whacked him on the noggin, and he got all jelly-legged, so they had to take him out for a little while.
That was brutal.
He got checked out, hospital. He's all good. His eyes aren't all crossed over anymore. He's all good. He should be back by the end of the month. James Paxton is healthy for like the first time in his entire career. That's cool. He'll be pitching game 2 against the Nationals. Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton, we were starting to think that they were like alter egos of each other because they never get seen in the same room because one of them's always hurt. But they're both healthy, so it's going to be a big 2-3 or 3-4 duo in the middle of the lineup. They're going to cause problems. They're going to hit bombs. They could hit like 40 homers between them, even in this 60-game season. The Nationals are completely healthy, with the exception of the guys who have all opted out. They've actually had 3 big opt-outs. They've lost Ryan Zimmerman, Joe Ross, and Wellington Castillo. They've all opted out for the season. But none of them was really a needle mover anyway. They're all role players more than anything. Beyond that, the Blue Jays aren't allowed to play in Toronto, so that's cool. Canada's doing this wild thing where they don't want Americans in the country to play sports because we all have COVID. So they're
not true because they're having NHL in Canada, which is weird.
I don't know. Maybe
NHL is full of Canadians and Russians.
Maybe it's just the Jays. It is mostly Canadian, but maybe it's just the Jays, though. They're actually looking at a AAA park in Buffalo. I don't know who I was talking to, which y'all out there I was talking to, but I was speculating that Buffalo was going to be where they go because there's a AAA stadium there. And that's likely where they're going to end up playing their shortened MLB season. So as far as news goes, that's all I've got. Anybody got any questions for me? Anybody want to drop some predictions? Anybody think any records are going to get broken in these 60 games? Somebody going to hit 85 home runs or some shit?
Hey, so my biggest thing, do you finally believe? So here's my thing. Clayton Kershaw, I want to get this out. He gets crucified for his playoff series, right? And how he acts in the playoffs and how he's played. But now looking at it, 2017 and 18, when he lost, they were cheating, obviously, right? The Astros and the Red Sox both were cheating. And there was a stat. It said he threw 162 breaking balls in that series in 2017, and not a single one was swung at. Not a single one. And so do you think it's a confidence breaker for him, or do you think he's going to come out eager? I think the Dodgers are going to win it all, but what do you think about that, man?
I think it does eat into your confidence a little bit, but I mean, it almost vindicates him a little bit to know that, you know, both the Red Sox and the Astros were, you know, being less than scrupulous with their resources. If I'm Clayton Kershaw, I'm not getting away from what's made me good. And the thing that's made Clayton Kershaw good is being able to put his breaking ball everywhere he wants it with as much movement as he's got. The biggest thing for him is going to be making it to the playoffs because he tends to get hurt a lot too. But in a 60-game season, that should be a lot easier for him to manage. I would venture to guess that his playoff numbers this year are going to be a lot nicer than they are in years past. Now, he had issues in the playoffs before people were like recognized to be cheating, but not to the degree that not a single breaking ball was getting swung at. I mean, that is statistically borderline impossible, especially considering I'm fairly certain they were including changeups in that. And I don't know if you've ever seen a changeup relative to a fastball. You don't know which is which until you've already swung and missed. So if they weren't, yeah. So if they weren't getting tipped off that he was throwing a changeup after a fastball, they sold their souls for some like foresight. I have no idea. But I think Clayton
big on your trash cans.
Yeah. No.
Look, hey, listen, hold on. Just imagine being a person in charge of the beating. Like, you like, wait, you got a curveball. Oh, shit, hold on. We got to restart. Like, did anybody ever mess up?
What is it? Is it one bang for a curve, two for a changeup, three for a slot?
Right, like,
I don't know how they managed that. I think it was just bang for a breaking ball, no bang for a fastball, hit the fastball. And that's because if you look at Clayton Kershaw's fastball, it's a little flat. He can put it anywhere he wants, but that's not what's made him great. What's made him great is that humongous 6-foot breaking curveball that starts at your tit and ends at your feet.
Yeah.
Curveball.
Hey, so Logan Smith said, I think Garrett Cole was going to be nasty. What type of nasty? Like, is he going to be like nasty? Like,
for everyone who doesn't know Garrett Cole yet, he's now making $35 million a year for the next until your child is 18 years old. Because he's really good at the two things that you're supposed to be really good at as a pitcher: keeping people from scoring runs and keeping people from touching the ball. Now, for the last 2 seasons, he leads Major League Baseball in strikeouts. He's got 602 strikeouts over the last 2 seasons. Last dude to put up those kind of numbers was a guy named Randy Johnson, and he was also very good at those two things.
And he killed a bird.
He did
kill a bird.
Most savage video ever.
If anybody watching has not seen that video, do yourself a favor. I mean, it's not funny.
He smoke checked that bird.
He didn't. He exploded it. He threw a grenade at a bird, and when they touched, the bird exploded. I've never seen anything. Let's go back to the question. Let's talk about Garrett Cole some more because he makes me happy.
He makes me
Tennis
happy.
birds exploding.
I don't think Garrett Cole is going to explode a bird, but if we're talking about if he could, he probably could. He's got among the highest average fastball speeds in Major League Baseball. He throws this high octane ridiculousness, and he throws it up. Now, the thing that's made baseball, other than having juiced baseballs, a couple of the things that have made baseball so different the last few years with the more home runs and the more strikeouts is pitchers are going up in the zone. Pitchers are taking their heat, they're rocking back and throwing it literally as hard as they can, injuries be damned. They are throwing as hot cheddar as they possibly can, and they're throwing it up in the zone. So if you can get it past the bat, it's a strikeout. But if you can't get it past the bat, it's going about 600 feet straight behind you. Garrett Cole happens to throw it in such a way that it doesn't end up getting hit 600 feet straight behind him. So that's going to be really helpful at Yankee Stadium, where it's really only like 400 feet straight behind him. It's got to be a home run.
Hey, so for me, man, I think it's so sweet because I got to be in DC and watch live the Nationals in there. Max Scherzer, for them to be in a league where the juice baseballs are a thing, right? Like, it's not obvious that these guys are just cranking runs better than ever. But to watch Max Scherzer be able to still be as dominant as he was, and even Steven Strasburg, for me, do you think Strasburg, because he looked really good in his he pitched yesterday. He looked really strong and solid. Do you think Strasburg and Scherzer are going to be? Is there a better duo than Strasburg Scherzer in the MLB?
I can't think of a better trio in any starting rotation than Scherzer, Strasburg, Corbin. The three of them they complement each other very well. They've all got varying skill sets, and they're all ridiculous. Like Corbin as an ace, a little shaky. Corbin might be the best number 3 in baseball. But if we're talking about Strasburg in specific, Strasburg has always had the stuff since he was 16 years old. He's had major league stuff. All he ever had to do was stay healthy. And last year he finally stayed healthy he's put a couple of healthy years together in a row. He's thrown 200 plus innings, and he's dominant. He was in the Cy Young race last year, and he earned every dollar of his contract this offseason.
Now I got one for you. So I can say maybe, and this is just maybe, Verlander, Greinke, and the guy they just got back from injury. He's healthy. He's going to be pitching this year for them. I can't think of his name. He just pitched for the Astros yesterday also.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Lance McCullers.
Yeah. So do you think they have the potential? What do you think about them?
I like to think that eventually Zach Greinke's going to go over the hill and be ineffective because it happens to everybody. It happened to me at 19. It happens to most people in their late 30s. But I don't know that happens this year. The shortened season, the long off season, Zach Greinke's really good. He's always been really good, and he's going to be really good. Lance McCullers is kind of a wild card, him coming back from injury, but he had every bit of talent to be the dominant number 3 that they need him to be. Verlander is practically immortal. I don't know when that dude's going to slow down, but if he was still winning 20 games at 50 years old, I wouldn't be surprised. He's still throwing high 90s, absolute cheddar.
Absolute cheddar.
You want to talk about a team with a rotation that needs to get some more love, though, is the Cincinnati Reds. They put some pieces together this offseason. They went and got Wade Miley as their number 3. Wade Miley was the Astros' number 5 last season. He put up a nice season for him. He signed with the Reds this offseason to be their number 3. Their 1 and 2 are Luis Castillo and Trevor Bauer. Trevor Bauer, if we remember, a couple seasons ago, led the American League in ERA. He's a little bit of a whack job on social media, but like the good kind of whack job. The like fight for players' rights kind of whack job, which is awesome. We love that. He's every bit as good as any number 2 in baseball, and Luis Castillo's got the kind of stuff that makes a pitching coach drool. He's got all the natural talent that you need out of a guy. They're 4 and 5 starters. One of them is Andrew DeSclafani. He's all kinds of talent for a number 5 starter. They deserve more love than Sonny Gray. I forgot about Sonny Gray. Sonny Gray, everywhere but New York, unfortunately, he's been an ace, and he showed that last year in Cincinnati. And he's in top 3 in their rotation. If they can get the bats going, they're going to be a dangerous team. I actually could see them threatening the top of the NL Central. Not to segue off of like actual title contenders and all that, but I see them finishing ahead of the Cubs, maybe ahead of the Brewers.
I think the Pirates are going to win it all. Because listen. So here's my thing, right? So the Pirates usually start really good, really fast, and then they shit the bed. There's only 60 games. What you can't be worth. Like, it was funny. So ESPN did this thing where they were like the NL Central is the best division in all of baseball, right? And they talked about every team. They didn't even show a clip of the Pirates. Like, they didn't even give them a chance. Like, they talked about the Cubs. They talked about they didn't talk about the Cardinals either. They talked like it was just like whatever, like screw you guys. Like I'm like Pittsburgh Pirates are winning it all, baby.
Any conversation that includes the Pirates, and for some reason certain conversations do include the Pirates, I still have not figured out why. Scientifically, it doesn't make any sense. But any conversation around the Pirates, I got to include Ke'Bryan Hayes. When do you think they're bringing him up this season? Do you think they should bring him up this season? Do you think they should wait for him for next year? And do you think he's ready to contribute now?
What more do you got to lose? You can't be.
You know what you got
can't
to
be
lose
much
is
worse.
player control.
Oh.
Contractual player control. One of these nights, I'm going to go on like a 3.5-hour explanation of how baseball free agency works before you can actually hit free agency, and that'll be a really fun conversation. I expect to have exactly one viewer, and that'll be me watching to see how many more viewers I get. But no, it's all about player control, and but for player control, they should have him up already because he's
All right,
ready.
man.
Bat plays.
All right. Is there anything else baseball related you want to talk about before we get out of here?
Watch out for the Tampa Bay Rays this year.
Good to hear. Hey, man. So also we got Loudmouth off the top rope himself, the man, the myth, the legend. He's too ugly to show his face, so he got a mask on. I'm sorry. We got to protect y'all. But we got our boy Sean Evans, none other. Hey, man, give us a brief discussion of what you got coming up this Saturday at 6 p.m. Let us know.
This Saturday at 6 p.m. we got Ringonology coming up. It's a quiz show, so it's gonna know your wrestling. So basically, it's gonna be questions, all aspects of wrestling. It's just not WWE. So AEW, Impact, all the promotions out there. We're gonna hit you hard with some tough questions from the 90s, from the 80s. If you think you know your wrestling, please come on our show. We're gonna have Who's Got the Loudest Mouth, which is you get to cut your own wrestling promo. You think it's easy to do a wrestling promo, feel free to come on and we'll grade you on it. We also have Promo King. It's going to be a challenge where two people are going to come on. They're each going to cut a promo. We're going to pick a winner. You keep going up until you are deemed the Promo King of our show. So we have a lot of great stuff coming up. We got a lot of interviews coming up. We got a couple. We got a tag team coming up on an interview here. They're from the indie division from IWC, RWA, PWX. We got two promoters in the Georgia promotions down there on indies coming up, and I believe we have a couple champions in IWC and PWX coming onto our show. So I mean, we are booked solid into September. We urge people who are fans of wrestling to come on, talk wrestling with us. Like, please do. We love it. We don't have to talk like today's product. We can talk like the 80s and 90s. We can discuss whatever you want. I mean, I've been a fan since, the 80s. So
Old.
On and yes, old. Yeah.
All right. Hey, all right, guys. So we appreciate everybody tonight. I want everybody to know we did this roundtable to introduce Robbie, who's going to be in charge of our MLB shows. Let us know what you can do to make baseball great again, because it fucking sucks. We got Dame Dollar holding it down. He's going to be bringing his NBA show soon as sports get back. We got Sean with Loudmouth off the top ropes. We had Rob with the mucking and grinding. We have myself being able to bring one of my friends. So happy to be able to call Lamont Wade a friend. So we appreciate everybody. Shout out to Bombshell Bowling, Miss Michelle. Get your t-shirts, $20. We have muscle tees, and we have a couple other things coming out. So go to bombshellbowling.com/Loudmouth Sports Talk. Also, thank you to everybody. We're at 2,000 plus members now.
Yeah.
So for anybody who has been a part of our group and has helped us build, we got to 2,000 in 2 months, and let's get to another 2,000 in 4 months. Let's get to another 2,000. And we appreciate all the love, all the support, everybody who's watched, everybody who commented tonight. So it's been a great show. Shout out to all you guys, and hope all of you have a good weekend and be safe.
Yes,
so
sir.
that's it for our show, guys.